part of it is for us to be able to have a policy for non-violent offenders. For me, for example, I saw some people, their charge sheet, you see them say one drink, this, that, and the person is in Kirikiri prison. He's in Kuje because you pick him for one drink. Somebody like that, what is he doing with hardened and convicted criminals in Kuje? So for non-violent offenders, I see no reason why they should be in custodial centers. I think there should be non-custodial measures that we could. If we do that, there's a huge possibility that we will be able to reduce the number of inmates to like 15,000. And in line with global standard now, most correctional centers, I think for a country like Nigeria, because the jurisdiction of Federal High Court is nationwide, there's only one, so even if you're arrested or in Kano, you can be prosecuted in Sokoto or in Edo or anywhere because there is jurisdiction for federal offenses. So I think, my own opinion, that we don't need more than maximum 10 custodial centers of 3,000 capacity. There is one that is about 90% complete. Yes. That's the one in Kano. It's almost done. It's a 3,000 capacity. There is one we are doing now in Karachi. Here it's a 3,000 capacity. So for me, if we have 3,000 capacity, about 10, it means we have capacity for 30,000. So if what we have at the moment is roughly, say, 20,000 plus or minus, it means that we have made provision for increment of even at 50%. What that helps me to do is that at the moment I have 246 correctional centers. It's practically impossible to secure 246 correctional centers. What is the number of armed guard that we have for correctional centers? That we have to protect 246 centers. And it will interest you that some of these centers, 400 people, 200, some, even less than that. So we, by being able to have these centers, means that we can now demarcate those centers to maximum and medium in those areas based on the gravity of the offenses and be able to create courts and facilities within that sector. So correctional centers that exist now that have not been caught up by urbanization, my own opinion is for the federal possibly to look at the possibility of transferring those structures to the states. So these states can renovate, the states can have their own there. Because if you tell them to go and build, a lot of states, we know, they might not. But there are some of these centers that we don't really need. Two, the chairman spoke about the correctional center in Sapel in Benin. One that interests me the most is even the one here, by our side, here in Kuje. The correctional center in Kuje shares a fence with a school. With a school. Yes, Abi? Yes. And their houses around. And you have people in those places and sharing fence with a school. So how on earth can we have that type of center in a 21st century environment? So I believe that those ones that have been eaten up by urbanization, yes, there can be other uses by the correctional service for those places. But for those other ones that are still in good locations in terms of international best practice, we can transfer those ones to states. So that states will now renovate, and also states will now take care of their offenders. Because let me say this clearly, in a year, how much do we feed our inmates with? How much of that is actually being expended on federal offenders? It will interest you, 70% of it is being spent on state offenders. So states, for me, so there's a lot of debate that we need to have on this. We need to be able to holistically sit down and be very practical. It's not an era of English-speaking venture. It's just about practicability, sitting down with you, critical stakeholders, to be able to rework it so that we are not asking the states to start afresh from sub-zero. We are saying possibly these 240-something, maybe it's about 50 that urbanization have eaten up. Okay, we take those ones off. The other ones, how do we get it to the states to renovate? And we have to come up with initiatives. So I think it's a wonderful idea that we need to play with. And also, issue of expatriates being paid in dollars. I said it earlier. What we have discovered is that a lot of expatriates, what they earn in Nigeria is upkeep allowance. A lot of them, they are so smart that so many of them, they get paid they pay them in their home nation because they want to avoid tax. They want to, because of tax issues and so many. So what you will see them earning here is so small, but the real money that they are earning is not paid for here. They pay in their cost. So that's why I said we're bringing up what we call the EEL, the Expatriate Employee Levy. So if you like, if you say now one naira that they pay you, this is our levy. So if you cannot pay, go.
The levy should be in foreign currency.
No, that's what I said. I said for all categories of non-executive is $5,000. But for executives, that's the executive directors and the managing directors, is about $10,000 per annum. So if you like, go and be earning your money abroad, but you will, so far you are using our infrastructure, you must be able to pay. You can't use our infrastructure, use our health services, and use all our assets. And at the end of the day, you tell me they are paying you. There are some of them, they will even tell you their payment is just $50,000 in a month, and it's an expatriate. How is it surviving? So they're just playing around it. So for us to be able to thwart that, to defend the interests of Nigeria, and also defend the jobs, for jobs to be available to Nigeria, you must pay. And it is the company that pays. So it is the company that is bringing you that will pay. So if you know as a company you cannot afford it, get a Nigerian that can do the job. So you now ask yourself, which one is cheaper for you? Do you want to be paying 5,000 or 10,000 every year, or you want to send a Nigerian for training and he comes back and you employ? So plus or minus, because we must have sanctions. We must be able to put these things in place so that if we are able to do it, jobs can be retained for our people. So that is a priority on that. Then, issue of envelope. Well, Mr. Chairman, I was a member of the National Assembly, and I know that appropriation is the responsibility of the National Assembly. You have the yam, you have the knife. You are the voice of the people, you are the representatives of the people, and you know that ability of Nigerians being able to sleep with their two eyes closed is the main responsibility of government. And we must be able to also know that, yes, we understand the role of other security agencies, but the issue of internal security, the issue of protection of critical infrastructure, the issue of even our fire service, the issue of our correctional center, or even immigration, because if you can't protect your border, if you cannot secure your border, you cannot secure your nation. So if we understand that the whole world has gone beyond detective, as I said, corrective security measures. The world now is on preventive. People want to spend money to avert crisis. People don't want to spend money to solve crisis. You don't want terrorists to hit or come into Nigeria. They've done the damage. You are now looking for money to get them. People that lives that have been lost have been lost. So that's where immigration and border control comes in. Because if they really sample those, we will know that, okay, the people we are managing are people within. And the security agencies can do that. But in a scenario whereby, as I said, about 1,800 entry points, 700 manned, 1,100 unmanned, and we think that we are ready. So there's a lot we need to do. We need your support to be able to achieve it. And we know that with the express support of this hallowed institution, we will be able to have the tools that is needed for us to give our people the kind of service that they need to be able to sleep with their two eyes closed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been a privilege defending this budget in your presence. God bless you, sir. Data protection policy for the Ministry of Interior and all agencies. Part of the first thing we think we need to do, I have to say this on camera, is that I personally, coming from my background as an IT security expert, I see no reason why my NIN should be fully written on an international passport. Because you go to an hotel, your data page, people take your data page. You go to the bank, they take photocopy. And your NIN is your identity, is who you are. Once that number alone is enough to put anybody in trouble. So I sincerely believe that we can introduce masking of maybe the last 3-4 digits or something. So we have to, those are part of the initiatives that we've brought in on board with Nigeria Immigration Service. We're already working on that. So the NDPD or something, they are already helping us a lot in working up a policy for the ministry and the agency. Once again, I believe all we need to do is to leverage on government agencies. We are not in competition. We are here to complement one another and to make sure that their success is our success is their success, and at the end of the day, we have to ensure that Nigeria becomes the ultimate winner. Then you spoke about a strategic IT plan. Yes, that's the first thing I did, having an IT plan. And that is why today in Nigeria Immigration Service, starting from the end of this month now, all the issues that we used to have in immigration in terms of passport application, by virtue of, for instance, it's so annoying that somebody wants to change his name. One, I do not agree. Personally, it's my own opinion. I don't believe anybody should change his date of birth. Personally, I believe for you to change your date of birth, there's something fishy. We need to go the extra mile, because your name can change maybe by marriage, conversion of religion, or whatever. But your date or the day when they born you, I believe that one should be it should be sacrosanct. So that, but apart from that, somebody gets married in maybe in Oloibiri, and you are telling me he cannot change his name, he cannot change his passport data, he has to come all the way to Abuja, bring documents to Abuja just for the sake of change of name because she got married? I don't think that is ideal. So what we are doing now with regard to all these things is to make sure that even all your documents are uploaded online. Even when you go to a passport office, there is no need in this era of 2023. I don't know anywhere you will go that they will still be saying, let's snap your picture in terms of your passport photograph. So they are standard, ICAO standard, just like we do in US Embassy and co. You upload this soft copy of this, your passport and everything. So if at all you need to go to a passport office, if you are a fresh applicant, all you just need to do there is take only your fingerprint, because we want you to be comfortable, but we must also not sacrifice our national security. We must balance both. So once that is done, and we are proposing, we will still talk to the next stakeholders, the chairman, the chairman, and other stakeholders. We'll still consult you, because it's my own sincere opinion that the world now has even gone to the era of contactless biometric. That is what is done all over the world now. So people can sit in their room. So once you are a first applicant, a fresh applicant, which should be once in your life, because there can only be a first time, only one first time. Any other time can never be a first time. So if you already have your fingerprint in our database, if you want to renew your passport within the comfort of your home, you should be able to use the contactless to capture. Once it matches what we have in our database, then it means it's you. If it does not match, then we cannot tell you to come to the office. So it's about making life. Technology is to be a catalyst, to make life easy for Nigerians. So these are the few initiatives that we have been able to put in place, and some of the questions that we have. Answers we have to some of the questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
The first question is about expatriate quota money being collected in Naira. I forgot to mention to Mr. Chairman that for us to be able to further curtail the menace of abuse of quota system, we introduced what we call the EEL. In fact, it should be launched within the next few weeks. The whole project has been delivered, and it's called Expatriate Employee Levy, because we understood, we got to see that what most of these expatriates do to avoid tax issues is that what they pay them here in Nigeria is basically more like an upkeep allowance. So most of them, they get paid their salaries in their home countries, so they use that to avoid taxation. And so what we have introduced now is what we call the EEL. So it was approved by FEC, and the project has been fully developed. The whole system is ready to be launched by Mr. President anytime soon. So that gives you that, okay, if you want an expatriate for a year, apart from what you pay for expatriate quota, you must be able to pay, I think it's about $5,000 US, but if it is the managing director or executive, any executive is about $10,000. So that is to be able to make sure that so if you can't afford that, then look for a Nigerian. So we want to also use that to discourage these people, because the main thing now is that there is no charge. Nigeria is like more or less the cheapest country where expatriates work. They can just come here, collect our money, and go, and there's nothing and whatever. So part of what we're doing, as much as we also work on the suggestion of the chairman, with regards to monitoring and evaluation is to also be able to bring financial on them. So we are starting to do that. So that answers the issue of the business expatriate. They pay us in Naira. And of course, the expatriate, in most cases, like what I said, they get paid in their, that's what we have discovered from our interaction with them. They use it as a system to beat our own tax net and tax system. So to be able to hit them on that, so we are introducing what we call the EEL. And hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks, Mr. President will be chanced enough to come and commission the whole